Join us at the second annual Black Ink Book Festival in New Orleans, Louisiana on Saturday, May 11th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at City Park's Pavilion of the Two Sisters. Meet 85-plus authors representing over 100 fiction, nonfiction, children's, science fiction, poetry, and urban fiction books. Plus enjoy author interviews, readings in the garden, a live DJ, book giveaways, and free custom tote bags for the first 100 attendees. The event is free to attend. Pre-registration is requested on Eventbrite. Before the book festival, celebrate literature in Louisiana at the Martinis and Manuscripts Happy Hour at the Social House in New Orleans on Friday, May 10th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. It's $20 to attend. We look forward to seeing you at both events.
Hi, everybody. It's Michelle Jackson here with our second group of authors who will be participating in the Black Ink Book Festival on next Saturday. Yeah, everybody write that down. Next Saturday, that's May 11th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at City Park's Pavilion of the Two Sisters. We hope to see everyone out so that you can celebrate with us these amazing, amazing writers. We have these VIP interviews set up so that you can get an opportunity to meet some of the authors before the event. And if you want to purchase books before, you can always purchase those books on direct2author.com. I'll put that up shortly so that you will have it. You can purchase all of the books from all of the authors on the screen, and as well as 400 other books that we have, primarily written by African-American writers from across the globe. So this is a platform I created a couple of years ago. The goal here with Direct to Author is so that you will know about these amazing independent authors and you can purchase directly from them and from the source that they want you to purchase from. So again, I'm Michelle Jackson, 3-time published author, director of, founder of the Black Writers Workspace, coordinator of the Black Ink Book Festival, and as well as direct2author.com. And I'm so excited to be here because this is what it's all about, right? It's about celebrating art. And that's what we're trying to do here. So we're going to bring on 4 authors who are all participating in the book fair. You get to hear them talk about their work, hear them talk about their publishing and marketing, possibly, as well as be inspired by the things that they've done to get these books out here. And then our goal is to get you to the book fair on next week, as well as, or to get you to purchase a book from these authors before the event. So let's bring them on the screen. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
Beautiful, beautiful. All women. I know they have been on some of the other interviews. We've been doing these since Thursday. So this is the 4th set of interviews. We have another one, our final one, that's coming up at 11 a.m. So I hope everybody will stick around for it as well. But let's get started. Let's talk about the books that you are going to be promoting at Black Ink. So tell me a little bit about the book, a little bit about yourself. If you want to throw in why you decided to come down here to New Orleans to celebrate with us, we would love that as well. We want to start with you, Bree. Bree writes in the children's genre, and she's from North Carolina. So talk to us about what you write about, and what inspired you.
Well, I am a teacher. So writing a children's book just felt really natural. And the whole topic of the book is something that's really near and dear to my heart, and in my personal experience and some experiences I share with some of my closest friends. So the book is Imani Takes a Deep Breath, and it follows this little Black boy, and he has a lot of big feelings. He's like in the 3rd or 4th grade, and he is learning how to manage and navigate those really big feelings in ways that are positive. He has some upsetting experiences. He has some really good experiences. And his teacher in the book teaches his class how to use this tool, this breathing tool, to help regulate your emotions. And this was just really important to me as a teacher, but also as someone who has experienced a lot of anxiety as a kid and even in adulthood, as well as having friends who have had those experiences. So yeah, the whole idea came out of a conversation with my best friend who shares the same name. And I wrote the book and about 2 years ago now. And it's been great. I've been getting feedback. This is so helpful. This is so cute. I wish I had this breathing tool when I was little. So it's been really awesome to see like how your book can be so impactful.
I absolutely love what you're doing. I think it's so interesting. The last interview, we had someone who teaches yoga, and then we had a gentleman who was writing children's books that are focused on teaching young people about Christ, about their faith. And one of the things that we were talking about was just this need to deal with, especially within our community, with anxiety and stress. And the fact that, with social media and the constant, I mean, the social media itself, your brain is just constantly ticking. And we've got young kids whose brains have not even fully developed, who are being inundated with all the digital, the not just the visual, but what they're hearing as well. So giving them resources to be able to deal with some of the things that they're coping with in this world, even as young as this, little Imani, is dynamic. So talk to us a little bit about how are the children receiving it? Are they learning about the breathing, and do they inquire about, um, okay, if I learn to breathe now, then what do I do? Or do I do this for the rest of my life? I mean, because that's the conversation I always have. When my son came in, when my son was young, we would tell him to learn to breathe instead of getting so, learning to breathe. So talk to us a little bit about some of the inspiring things the kids are saying, or some of the things that you've learned in this process.
Oh, it's been great. I've gotten people sending me videos of their kid tracing the breathing tool or actually using it. I think that's been really cool to see, but I think what's also really adorable is like I was really intentional about including like my West Indian Caribbean heritage in the book. So in the book, there's a scene of like Imani and one of his parents cooking, and there's some seasoning, some spices that look like some real life West Indian seasonings and spices. And so a friend of mine sent me a picture of her daughter, and she was like, "Look, mommy, you cook with that too." And so representation is very important to me, as well as, obviously seeing kids use the breathing tool. The whole breathing tool came out of the social emotional learning curriculum that my school was using when I was teaching elementary school. And it was amazing. It came with like, I want to say like 12 social emotional regulation tools that we taught our students. And one of them was the breathing tool. And it wasn't quite the exercise that I adopted in the book, but just to have a tool to regulate when emotions kind of escalate, whether it's in a positive way or a negative way. I thought that was just amazing to know as a kid when so much of us as adults need something like that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That is excellent. I hope everybody will come out and pick up a copy of your book. You're going to be at the Black Ink Book Fair next Saturday. Drop by her table, get a signed copy, bring your kids. We will have so much going on at the book fair. We've got a DJ. We'll be giving away books. We have author interviews on stage with our featured authors, and these are our best-selling authors. We have Farrah Rashan, who's a best-selling romance novelist. We have the former Louisiana poet laureate is going to be there. We have Kamulu Salam, who's going to be there. He's a poet from the Ninth Ward. There's just a lot happening. And then we have Reading in the Garden. So we have authors in the garden actually reading their books. So this is not the ordinary book fair. As you can tell, we're doing these interviews, we're doing a little bit of everything. So I hope everybody will come out and look for Bree Reed, find the chart, find her table, and go and support her work. So thank you so much for being with us. Anita, talk to us about your work. You're out of the ATL. I lived in Atlanta for, I think, 7 years. Love it. I have lots of family there. You write romance, suspense. I'm loving this because I love romance. Okay. I watch romantic comedies. I watch Hallmark. All the time. I'm obsessed with this. So I love that you're writing in this genre. Talk to us about your work and what inspires you. You're muted. I'll unmute you. I'm sorry. There you go.
Okay. You're not by yourself regarding loving romance. Everybody loves romance. Men love romance. They might not admit it, but they do. Every good movie has romance in it. It might has a lot of violence or whatever else in it, wars or whatever, but romance is in there. And I like romance. I love romance. I am a romantic at heart, but I like suspense too. I like something to keep me wondering what's going to happen next. I live in Atlanta, which is a great place to live. It's also a wonderful place for people of color, especially African Americans. There's so much to offer here. I'm originally from Jersey, from New Jersey. I write, and when I was in Jersey, when I first came down here, I worked as an economist and a professor and raising kids, being married. I didn't have time to write. And when I graduated with my graduate degree, my professor said, "What are you going to do with this degree in economics?" I didn't know at that time that economics was kind of reserved for old white men. I thought I was going to get a job and make a lot of money. Well, it was very difficult to get a career in that, but I managed. It was very difficult. It was like swimming upstream. But I wanted to write, and I answered my professor. I said, "I'm going to write a book about economics that the average person can understand and use in their daily life." And that's one thing that I find we as a people do not either understand or use in our lives. A lot of us don't know how to even make a basic budget. So that's what I wanted to do. I mean, it was like, not necessarily the stock market and world economy, but if you go get your braids done, if you get your nails done, how do you fit that into your budget? That's very important. And a lot of people just wing it. And that's going to come down the road. The reason why I write after I retired early, because of stress and harassment, because I am a Black woman that did enter a white man's field, I retired early and started writing in 2000. And I wanted to write something that would inspire and empower women to live life according to their own values and not someone else's. I've found that too often we live our lives according to what our men want us to live, our parents want us to live, our kids, our society, trying to fit into a Black culture, different things like that. And we're not really being true to ourselves. We're not taking care of ourselves. And so I wanted to write books that women could read that would inspire them to be themselves and enjoy this short life that we have. And I wrote this based on my own experiences and too many women that I know personally. And I also did it because too many of the books that I was exposed to as an adult had the stereotypical theme that I couldn't relate to. And I know that there are quite a few other people out there that can't relate to these stereotypical plots and themes. Like in American fiction, the Oscar-nominated movie, where this guy was writing decent books, but couldn't get the attention that he wanted. But he wrote something stereotypical, and it became a bestseller. That got me to my heart. I was like, why does this have to be true? But it is so true. But anyway, my books are, well, let me just tell you about one. One caught the attention of Oprah, the Oprah Show back in 2005. And it's about a young lady who is drawn to this rich, so-called good-looking doctor that drove the beautiful car and had all the flash and dash, but he was treating her really badly. There was this other guy on the side who's very humble, very successful, but he didn't have the flash and dash. Very good looking too. But when she had to go through some harassment on her job and she finally had a breakdown and she went to the hospital and was during this recovery process that she learned what was important in her life. Throughout this whole book, there is a runaway slave saga. And I think that's what caught the attention of the Oprah show. But it's a very evocative story about a family running from Virginia to New Jersey to a safe house. And one thing I mentioned in there that I enjoy writing that I don't hear a lot of people talk about is when your menstrual cycle is on. How does that impact your life? Well, if you're running from bloodhounds, they can smell blood. If you're in the middle of the winter, icy winter, how do you get the bloodhounds off of your track? You go into the icy river with cramps on your cycle, and then you run up into a cave and you hide there. And the stress is making your menstrual cycle push out slabs of liver, and you sink your private area into a cold, icy puddle in the cave to protect your family from getting caught by the slave catchers.
Well, talk to us. What's the name of your books?
Betrayals.
Betrayals. Okay.
This is Betrayals. I love writing this book. This came from my heart. I never made it to the Oprah show because there was a blizzard in Chicago, which is, I guess it's not unusual. And I couldn't get the plane out. But her show being interested in my book validated my writing. And that meant a lot to me.
And how many books do you have now? How many books have you written?
I've written one other novel and one other nonfiction. But to get back to Betrayals, I just wanted to mention there's two sub things in there that I think are worth mentioning. And one is something that happens in our culture, our Black culture, our African-American culture, and that is people bullying light-skinned people because of their complexion. And that is a major sub-theme in this book. This person was bullied to the point where they had to change who they were. They had to force themselves to fit into the white culture. But while in that white culture, they longed to be in the Black culture and longed for Black people to accept them. That was very important because I knew personally a person that went through that.
Now we're going to need to move on to some of the other people, but we'll definitely get back with you to talk about some of the things that you've experienced. You're going to be at the book fair. You'll have one of your books, or will you have
two? I have a second book, Deceptions. And
excellent.
Yeah.
I love romance, suspense. I think it's going to be dynamic. I love everything that you said, specifically around dealing with issues that are about the complexities of life and specific life in the skin, and the things that we have to endure while in this skin. My mother was a very bright, very light-skinned woman as well. I grew up in Alabama. She told me she would have to run home from school every day because people would try to fight her because of the color of her skin. I could not, as a young girl, understand that. But as I got older, I began to understand that is something a lot of us, we don't talk about, which is colorism. And colorism is a huge problem in our community, because if people don't think that you're Black enough, you're going to get harassed. And then if people, then you have those who just harass you for being Black. Those are the racists. So you're fighting against everybody in that, you know, from the
And you
white
belong
community, from the Black
nowhere.
community, and you belong nowhere. And so that becomes a real challenge that I've seen a lot of. So I'm glad to know that it's amazing when you talk about being able to get that big book picked up by Oprah in 2000. We need more Oprahs out there celebrating works by Black people. So congratulations on that. I look forward to meeting you. This is just such an interesting conversation to have, and we'll get back and talk about some other things. But we're going to give everybody an opportunity to introduce themselves. So, Shenitha, talk to us about what you do. You're a publisher. You're an author. You are now writing. You have a memoir. You focus on inspiration. You're in Chicago, so you know everything about those blizzards, right? Talk to us about your work. And I've got a message up here from one of your people in your group. Mark was on last night with us. He's going to be at the book fair as well. So tell us a little bit about your work.
Yeah, so first, hey to the viewers. Hey, Mark, what's going on? So Michelle and everybody else, first of all, I love children, okay, and I love romance, and I think that's the reason why I have 4 daughters. But who I am Shenitha Burton. I am the CEO and founder of She Publishing LLC by nights and weekends. And by day, I run the operations of a federal courthouse. So I definitely say that I consider myself to be a proud corporatepreneur. Okay. And that job is what pays for a lot of the things that we do for our authors that are on our roster. I will say that I am truly honored to be here on your platform, Michelle. I would say you are trailblazing. And this is actually my first year being a part of the Black Ink Book Festival, and I intend to support it from this day forward, going forward, because I truly appreciate the support. You're giving us a platform to talk about our books, but who will be representing us at the New Orleans Black Ink Festival is Mark Beausejour. He is the author of the Black Cyrano series. We have Tiffany Jackson. She is the author of Making My Spirit Smile. And then we also have one of our youngest authors, Camreon. He is from our Little She Project, and he will be promoting his book, Shadow of Retribution. And the book that I will be marketing at this year is From Projects to Publisher. And this book is a tribute to the authors that are on our platform, as well as the authors that we support who are not a part of the She family. So just a little bit about this book. It is, again, it's a tribute to the authors. It's navigating the chapters of life while maximizing your lane. And it's power-packed with inspiration for all of us. And I decided to write it because I wanted authors to know the good, the bad, the ugly, the confessions of a publisher. I am an author as well, so we have a lot in common. And so I'm really excited about this project, again, because if it had not been for the authors believing in She Publishing, this would not even be what it is today. And from Projects to Publisher, I grew up in the Robert Taylor Projects. So Projects is representative of the projects that I grew up in, as well as the projects that we've published, which is over 50 projects. So, yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. I grew up in they just gave them a name. I grew up in what you used to call the old projects in Fairfield, Alabama. And now they've given the projects a name, which I think is just weird. Okay. So yes, I know that feeling of coming from a place where a lot of people may not have thought you would have came out of, unfortunately, to a place where you can do the type of dynamic work that you're doing. So congratulations on all of that. We cannot ever forget where we started. I think it's just It's the story of our lives. It's a story that people need to know, and it's how we own our own narrative, and is when we can infuse the work with our own personal experiences, with our own, loves and hates and things that have, driven us. I keep hearing this word. The first interview, someone said they wrote out of rage, and that really made me think about the things that are nurturing this work and why it's so important that this work continues to take place. We're putting these books out there. We need to put these books out there. They're trying to ban them. And this banning is about just what I said, the fact that we now have a venue, an avenue to talk about the pain, to talk about our kids dealing with anxiety, to talk about the woman who needs to stand on her own, and go after her own, to talk about, where we started, the Black experience. There's a threat there to the world when we can diverge all the things that make us who we are. We're magical people. And if we have these communication tools and we can share with a podcast, everybody talking about Shay, and these podcasts are important because now we can tell our own stories. Nobody's giving us 2 minutes on the news, 5 minutes on a show. We got 3 hours. In 3 hours, I can tell you how everybody broke my heart, and people don't want to hear that. So, or they think they don't want to hear. We want to hear. We want to know the truth. So this is what's so dynamic about these books. Please keep writing. Please keep sharing. Please be authentic. Tell these stories because the world needs to hear them. And there are just still people who think that by getting these stories out there, we're going to disclose something. We are going to disclose it. We're going to disclose the racism, the sexism, the fears, the rapes, the incest, the family dynamics. That's what we're gonna show up, and we need to for the next generation, so they don't have to live behind the veil like so many of us did. So thank you to everyone. Quiana,
Michelle,
talk to us. I'm sorry. Yes.
I just wanted to say one last thing. Being a publisher, this is one of the best careers that I could have encountered. I had no idea, being in the legal field, that I would now be here in the publishing arena, and to meet all of these amazing people like who are on the screen and the people who we published. It keeps you humbled. Like, I've read so many stories where they're revealing these different things, and it keeps you humbled, it keeps you grateful, and it makes you want to make it better than you found it, whatever that it may be for you. So yeah, that's all I wanted to add.
I 100% agree. And let's talk a little bit about this once we get Quiana to share with us her information. Let's talk about the how we're empowering ourselves in the world by telling these stories. I think that's so important. I'm really motivated by Renita and what she said, just getting into a field that wasn't open to you, been there, having to overcome so many challenges to get to where I am. I completely understand. And I love when I have all women on the screen. We can talk about these things. So Quiana, talk to us. Tell us, Miss New Orleans, you right here. Honestly, I think you're literally down the street from me. You probably can hear me talking loud now. But yes, let's talk. You're writing fiction. Tell us about your work and tell us about yourself.
Well, first, it's amazing. Thank you for the opportunity, Michelle, for allowing me to be a part of this event. I'm nervous. It's my first time, but I was looking forward to it. I'm excited about just meeting other authors. This is my first book, so I'm just learning so much, and the people that I've been introduced to and kind of walking me through the process has just been breathtaking and amazing. Like, everybody's been so helpful and welcoming, But my name is Quiana Scott, and it's crazy because I'm from the west side of Chicago. Although I'm here in New Orleans, I grew up in the Village right off of Roosevelt and Ashland. And I did 21 years, 4 months, 3 days in the Marine Corps. And I noticed that during my journey of being in the Marine Corps, I mentored a lot of people. I spoke to a lot of people about just being authentic and resilient, and being a Black woman in the military, it's very difficult. And the Marine Corps is probably one of the hardest branches to be in. So I was able to successfully do that and excel in that. I played basketball 20 years while in the Marine Corps, so I traveled a lot. Athlete, and I just came across a lot of things that I thought I would get away from growing up on the west side of Chicago. I've been through a lot of traumatic experiences. My book, Resilience, the authenticity, the beauty of authentic healing from trauma. So that's pretty much, it's crazy that you guys brought that up. I was listening to you guys mention that as women and as Black women, and coming from projects, you experience so much. I heard you mention somebody started to write their book out of rage. It took me 18 months to write my book. The first 2-3 chapters, I realized I was writing out of pain. And I decided to go to therapy. A lot of people, and I went to therapy to help me process some of the things that I was writing about. And some of the stuff I realized I wasn't ready to talk about yet. So you have to be truthful with, are you completely healed from a lot of things, you know? And so the things that I was able to talk about, I talked about childhood trauma, just being experiencing racism in the military, you know, misogyny, you know. So I was a young mother at 19, but my mother died when I was 19, and I had to get custody and adopt my siblings while in the military. So I spoke about just like, we are so multifaceted with what we can handle on our plates. I shock myself every time. Sometimes you think that's all you have to give, but you know, sometimes we manage to push through. So pretty much it took me 18 months to write it. And I just wanted to kind of be uh, a vision for women, because I've mentored women. I've run a lot of mentorship programs. And I noticed that when I spoke and I shared my journey, it helped people, even though it actually helped me too, you know, so I have to be honest about that. And so I decided, once I retired from the Marine Corps, I was going to go ahead and put everything in a book and tell my story and share it, and see where it goes. Currently, I'm in New Orleans. I retired in 2015 after living in Japan for like 4 years. And then, and I just started writing. And the end product, I'm so proud of it. Like, it's amazing, you know, that the response that I'm getting.
That's
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 pretty much
amazing.
the scope of everything.
Well,
I don't want to, you know,
first,
drag it out, but that's pretty much it,
that's
you know, the
amazing.
storyline. It's just being resilient, having the strength to tell your story, the support systems. You know, we can all, you know, most people, you believe it or not, a lot of people have some form of trauma in their life. So you never know what resonates with someone. It could be, you
Mhm.
know, I've experienced childhood trauma, domestic violence, drug addiction, alcoholism, the whole shebang. And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and use my journey, and hopefully it helps others. That's the end result.
Um, I don't even know where to start. I will say this: you're about to make me cry, and I'm not a crier. So this is. I love everything. I love everything you've said and everything you've done. I'm a retired. My husband is retired military, so I've been a military wife for 19 years. I know
Okay.
that lifestyle. Taking on your brothers and sisters, playing ball, being in one of the hardest, I think the
Yeah.
most difficult, uh, services that are out there, and writing this book. It's so inspiring. Everybody on the screen, you guys are amazing. And I hope everybody will come out and meet you, get signed copies of your book, support you, become a part of your fan base. How do you support a writer? Come out, buy the book, read the book, review the book, share it with one person. That's it. We're going to let you share it with one person and make everybody else buy it because we need you to buy these books. And so we are hoping to inspire people to do just that. So since we've got a little time, I just want to talk about something that I'm hearing, and that is we're writing through some level of pain. It doesn't matter if it's romance, if it's memoirs, if it's I write children's books and Christian fiction and women's fiction. There is something that's very personal within us just driving this work. Something personal driving this work. Um, I was talking to a group. I have this thing called the Pen Posse, and we will get on a call. We'll like this on a Saturday morning. We'll talk for 2 hours. And I was only with a group of women, and we were talking about the idea of seeking the soft life. Black women wanting the soft life. And I'm listening to everyone, and I feel like that's what I'm hearing is this theme of we are strong, without a doubt. We can handle a lot. But at some point, we want to take a step back and seek something softer. So, Bree, with you, a book for children, teaching them how to breathe and relax. You talked about your own anxiety. You talked about things that you've struggled with. In seeking this soft life as a writer, what advice would you give to a reader of a children's book, a parent, or just anyone about how do we align ourselves and our work to promote a quality of life within this skin that allows us to move forward without being so broken? That's a loaded question. I'm sorry, but I'm in that place today. So take any part of that.
It's so interesting that you just asked me that because that's where I am in life now. I'm 28, so that's actually has been on my heart a lot lately. And I think even though I wrote a children's book, and even though the children's book is focused on teaching kids how to regulate their emotions, I also felt some rage there because the idea for this book came out of a conversation between my best friend and I. And he and I share a lot of like childhood bringing up experiences. And one thing that he was telling me, his experience as a Black boy in schools and as a Black man, one thing he was telling me was a story and it made him angry. He had this experience of having a lot of anxiety at school and he got in trouble for feeling this anxiety in the way that it showed up. And he held on to this anger towards his parents for that. And it's a children's book, but it came out of a story of anger towards the people, the adults who are in charge of us when we're children, whether it's our teachers, our parents, whoever, for instead of helping us regulate our emotions, we get in trouble. I'm gonna give you something to cry about. You know, the way that our emotions show up as children, we're not socialized yet. We're not taught how to express them in a way that's not explosive or a meltdown. So our parents, our teachers, whoever's in charge of us, they get frustrated because they don't know how to regulate their own emotions. They don't have the tools either. So now it's combining and it's becoming punishment instead of let's breathe. And so he was telling me this experience he had, and I was sharing with him my experiences. And we were just so angry and we were crying and we're like, oh my gosh, why don't we have these tools when we're kids? And that's when I started telling him about what I was being able to teach my elementary kids at the time that I was teaching. And we just got really emotional because we were like, wow, how lucky that this generation is that they have this focus on social and emotional well-being. But our generation and the ones before us didn't have access to those things. So we got punished for feeling big feelings when we should have been taught to regulate them. And so how many of us know Black men who grow up to be adults and they don't know what to do with their emotions? And it shows up as anger, it shows up as violence. And now we're not being punished by our parents anymore. We're being punished by the law. Like, we get in trouble. And now that I teach high schoolers, I'm like, whoa. So Yes, to answer the question, this story was this children's book also came out of a lot of heavy emotions, and I think to answer your question, how do we work towards soft life is forgiveness,
Mm.
forgiveness for others, and forgiveness for ourselves. And I'm very much in that space now, where I'm too old to be blaming the people who were in charge of me as a child for the things that they could have done better. Because now I have to take accountability for how it impacted me and how am I going to allow it to continue to impact me and continue my relationships and continue to impact the teacher that I am. Um, and I think that's what it is. Because when you forgive yourself, you forgive others, you have peace. You don't have to carry
Yes.
around what's heavy. You don't have to carry around things that don't belong to you. And continuous forgiveness. Like if you have to forgive the same person every day to get to where you need to be, I think that's what soft life looks like for me. Peace.
Excellent. Love that. Soft life means forgiveness. Money takes a breath. Please, guys, go out, purchase this book for your young kids. I 100% agree. I wish I had an hour to talk
Yes.
about everything that you just said, because our young Black boys are struggling in school. It's one thing, the education component is one thing, but you're talking about young Black men are expelled more often than any other child. They are placed in, for my son, it's more Saturday school because he goes to a military academy. I've
Oh, wow.
seen the trends. He's 17. I've seen the trends over the years. It doesn't, every little step, every class, there's just this a harder look at what they do, and harsher punishment. And so the anxiety builds up tremendously on top of all the other social media, trying to cope in this world. So I love what you're doing. Everybody go out and purchase her book. Anita, talk to us. We talk about the soft life and you write romance. Okay. You're dealing with something that, I still believe there are people in the world, especially the gatekeepers, who don't believe Black people believe in romance, and romance has to be harsh. It has to be brutal. We got to come out the projects and we got to get beat up every day. And then we find, no, everybody ain't living that lifestyle. Some people just, we want an easy romance. We want a guy to take care of us, take care of our hearts. And it doesn't have to be about take care of my bills, take care of my heart. And so let's talk about your books very quickly, because gosh, man, I wish we had another hour with this. I've got to cut it off in a minute. But writing and seeking the soft life as a woman, as a female writer, talk to us about what you've learned and what we need to do to conquer, to achieve this soft life, especially when it comes to romance, love and romance.
Let me just talk about this very quickly, which is Deceptions, which is my latest book. And that has a major character in there that's suffering from mental illness. And in my opinion, we all suffer from mental illness, because how can you not? But trying to learn how to deal with that mental illness, to whatever degree it is the key. And for this, the main character in this book, she had to learn to get rid of people who were not good for her in her life. In addition to what Bree said, forgiving, which is major. But this lady was married to this mentally ill man. She didn't know he was mentally ill till later. And then after forgiving, she had to let go. And I think we have to surround ourselves with an environment that nurtures us. And that means nurturing, making your home your oasis, taking time to soak in a bathtub, put on some easy music, some soft, whatever music calms you and gives you peace. Look at a flower. I mean, really stop and look at a flower and look at an ant crawling up its stem and breathing. There's so many things that we can do to, and of course, we've been taught not to. We've been taught to take care of everybody and we're last. And I say, put yourself first. Take care of you. And then people will know how to treat you. And stop accepting abuse, whether it's emotional abuse or disrespect. Stop. Just like, no, you don't talk to me that way. As
Love
I
it.
told one lady one time, unless you talk to me with respect, don't talk to me at all. Period. That's
Yes,
what.
taking back our power. Love that.
Yes.
Deception. Everybody go get a copy of Deception and the other books that this amazing author is going to have at the book fair. I'm looking forward to meeting you um, and meeting all of you. This is going to be an amazing event. I'm so full right now, and I think it's because everyone on the screen has said something that really ties into what's happening in my world at this moment in my own goals. I was just telling my husband this morning I turned 50 years old in 2 weeks. And I said, going forward, my life has to be about being happy, being healthy, and doing what I feel God wants me to do. It can't be about everything else. I'm beyond the age of worrying about who likes me, who doesn't like me. You don't like my shoes, you don't like my hair, oh, my glass is too red. I heard it all. Okay. It's always something. But how I pour into myself, how much I love myself, those long baths, the massages, the doing things I want to do, that's where I am in life. And it's been, I think that's the beauty of your 40s and your 50s. So you get to that place where you're like, I'm not a hot girl anymore, guys. I'm not hot girl summer, knees bad, feet flat. Nope. Undone, no stilettos, can't do it anymore. I'm gonna leave the hot girl summers to all the beautiful young ladies. Do it, but do it well. Don't hot girl summer yourself into a life of misery. And so that is something that we have to, as mentors, continue to tell our young women. That's why all of the books on the screen are so important. Teach our young people what we know best. Nita?
I just want to say I really appreciate this opportunity to be with a big group of Black authors. I've done book signings all over the place and been on TV and in the newspapers, but this draws me. I don't even know you, but it draws me because wherever I go, where it's majority white, I don't feel like I belong.
Mm-hmm.
And it leaves a hole in my soul. And I am so looking forward to being just in the midst of all these intelligent, beautiful Black writers. And I want to thank you. And I'm also interested in sheep publishing because, I mean, to publish our books can be an easy task.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. And we're going to go to our last two and let you guys talk to us about two things that we're going to wrap up because we only have about 2 minutes. Sorry. Shenitha, talk to us about this soft life. And I know you're repping a bunch of authors, and I have nothing but love and respect for what you're doing. But you also are repping your own memoir. And I'm sure in that memoir, I can't even say it this morning, memoir, you are tackling just what we're all talking about, this seeking the soft life. And then we're going to end up with you, Quiana, and you two talk to us about what you see, what you're trying to do with these books, why people need to come out, because you are also exposing, to write in that level, to tell your own personal story, you have to have a level of authenticity that is amazing to get to. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that book and how you've discovered the soft life.
So I was actually had opened the book just to read just a little snippet because it just kind of resonated with everything that everybody was saying. So from the publishing realm and the author realm, and I'm gonna take this from the book, softness is the feeling of belonging is essential. So create your own circle, your own table, your own entourage. Make noise, share your dreams, and connect with like-minded individuals who inspire and elevate you. Your
Excellent.
network is your safety net, your sounding board, and your source of endless possibilities. So remember, people remember how you make them feel. So prioritize kindness, respect, and genuine connection in every interaction. And that is what softness is for me in this space. And it sounds like it's for all of us here. That's what it's about.
Love that. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Everybody go and check out her table with a number, and her little area is going to have a number of her authors there. She will be introducing them. Something else I want everybody to know before we end with you, Quiana, is that we will have um, Miss Kai is going to be there. She's an agent, and she's going to be doing live pitches or accepting live pitches for those who are looking for a traditional publisher. So her name is Nikayla Kai. She's going to be at the event. You can register with her to give a 5-minute pitch. And I really would ask everyone do that if she has any more spaces. And that information is on our website. Register with her if you're looking to get a traditional publishing deal. To have an agent on site is something we haven't had in the past, and this is a game changer. And she's African American, so please go by and see her table. Wrap up for us, Miss Scott. Talk to us about that soft life and give a one word of encouragement to those who are writing, and base it on what you had to overcome to get to a place to write this book.
So again, my book, the one word, resilience, i.e., because it's going to be hard. To me, I think finding softness is extremely hard. That's a daily struggle for me. Having, like I said, military life, a captain of basketball teams, every mothering, adopting parents, adopting siblings, burying parents, like my whole life has been being tough, hard, figuring it out, and so I had little room to do that. But my subtitle is The Beauty of Authenticity and Healing Beyond Trauma. And what I mean by that is being truthful and realizing what you went through and acknowledging that, okay, I can't continue to thrive through life this way. It's not healthy. And then that's why therapy. Like Miss Anita said, we all have something. A mental illness is not the most extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just simple anxiety, stress, disorders that just social disorders. So, and those walls that you build up because you had to live such a hard journey. Your journey was hard. So for me, softness is continuing to invest in yourself through healing, i.e., therapy, social networks that speak to your spirit, the soft side of your spirit. We all have both sides. Some, you know exactly when it's people around you that don't deserve to be around you. The walls come up, and that's it. But then there's also a need, a requirement to be around people that speak to that person that doesn't want to be turned on all the time and be on guard all the time. And it's healthy to have people that don't judge you when they see that side of you. When you cry or you're being vocal about how you feel, you don't want to be judged, and you don't want to fake it either. And that's the authenticity part of it. Just being truthful, like, look, this is exactly how I feel. This is how you're making me feel. And then if they don't make the adjustment, then unfortunately the hard side has to kick in, and you have to let them go. You have to just cut them off, like they're not good for me. So like I said, I've experienced that at all the different levels of my life, all the different points of my career. And writing is my first step at being soft, I think. It's really hard to try to tell your story and worry about how people are going to think, what they're going to say. I had a couple of people recommend to switch the names out and make it kind of like, and I was like, no. I literally reached out to every single person in the book and had them sign, authorization to release, because I wanted my story to be as authentic as by name, by story. These are the events, these are the times. And that part, believe it or not, everyone, they were okay with it. You think you'll have some feedback. People like, I don't know what she's going to say about our experience. Well, Cat Williams said it the best. If you treated me better, you wouldn't have to worry about what I'm gonna say.
Absolutely. We're going to have to end it there, ladies. I'm 5 minutes over. I got a new one to start in a minute. Thank you. This has been fantastic. Please sign up for our Pen Posse Roundtable. We'll do one in the future that's about writing through the pain, about the soft life. So pay it, if you're on our social media, just whenever you see the little link that goes up for Pen Posse, register. This is just a 2-hour session. We can talk about these issues. This has been dynamic. Thank you all. I'm going to have to jump off right now. But I will definitely, I look forward to seeing you all on Saturday, May 11th at the Black Ink Book Festival. Take care.
Love, ladies. See you there.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.